Imagine a grand orchestra. Every instrument from the violins to the horns plays a role in creating that symphony, that harmony. Now imagine plucking a single violinist from the group and asking them to recreate the entire symphony alone. It's impossible. Yet this is exactly how modern nutrition science treats food, by isolating nutrients and expecting them to perform the role of a complex biologically intelligent system. In nature, nutrients never exist in isolation. They are always part of a complex biological fingerprint, a matrix of minerals, enzymes, amino acids, and cofactors that together deliver nourishment, true nourishment. This isn't just about chemistry, it's about something deeper, a missing intelligence that synthetic supplements and fortified foods cannot replicate. The idea that individual nutrients can sustain human health began with the discovery of vitamins in the early 20th century. Scientists identified key compounds like vitamin C, vitamin D, and iron as crucial to well being. Suddenly, the focus shifted from whole foods to individual molecules or elements. This reductionist thinking has led to a rise in fortified foods. As industrial agriculture depleted nutrients from food, companies responded by adding isolated vitamins and minerals back in. White flour, for example, was stripped of its natural B vitamins, as I spoke about last time. So they added enriched versions to compensate. Then came the supplement boom. Once nutrition was broken down into chemical formulas, supplements exploded as a shortcut to health. Pills replaced plants, and isolated nutrients were marketed as superior to whole foods. This is a fragmented approach to health. Nutrients were now treated as cures for isolated conditions: calcium for bones, vitamin C for immunity, omega 3s for the brain. But this ignored the synergistic web that makes nutrients effective in the first place. By treating nutrients as individual parts instead of an interconnected whole, the food industry broke the natural logic that governs real nourishment. When nutrients are isolated from their natural context, they lose much of their power. This is called a loss of biological synergy. In real food, nutrients don't work alone. They work in teams. Magnesium requires vitamin B6 to activate properly. Vitamin D depends on vitamin K2 to regulate calcium. Zinc and copper must remain in a delicate balance. Oh, there's more. This is just one layer that I just described, but it's way more complex than that. Isolated supplements cannot recreate this symphony. Adding high doses of isolated nutrients can throw the body out of balance. Excess calcium without sufficient magnesium can calcify arteries. Too much iron can impair copper absorption. In real food, enzymes, fiber, and their cofactors aid nutrient absorption, the correct nutrient absorption. Isolated vitamins often bypass these mechanisms, reducing their bioavailability. Science has tried to mimic nature's blueprint, but it keeps missing one critical element: the intelligence that guides nutrient synergy. What's missing from isolated nutrients isn't just their chemical structure, it's their energetic signature. It's this livingness. In the mid 20th century, a German physicist, Fritz Albert Popp, discovered that all living cells emit tiny pulses of light called biophotons. These photons are not random. They carry information. They're information carriers that help regulate cellular processes. Organic, correctly grown food emits high biophoton activity. This is an indication of its energetic vibrancy. Have you ever heard someone say living food? Well, biophotons is the livingness in that food. Processed industrial food shows weak or no biophoton emissions. This suggests that real food doesn't just provide nutrients, it carries an energetic blueprint that tells those nutrients and more how to function in the body. Biophotons may explain why freshly harvested greens feel energizing in a way that powder supplements do not. Wild plants grown without industrial inputs seem to awaken the body more deeply than lab-grown food. Fermented foods rich in enzymes and beneficial microbes often feel far more potent than isolated probiotics. Biophoton research is still emerging, but the implications are powerful. Nutrients aren't just chemical units, they're carriers of light, energy, and information, and of course, intelligence. The food industry's answer to nutrient-depletion has been to fortify products with synthetic vitamins. But these isolated compounds lack the biophotonic intelligence that governs real nourishment. A fortified cereal may claim to contain 100% of your daily iron, yet without the cofactors and energetic imprint found in real food, its effects are incomplete, if not perhaps even counter-nourishing. The result is a paradox. Populations are increasingly overfed, yet undernourished, consuming calories packed with synthetic nutrients that fail to activate the body's true regenerative potential. If isolated nutrients cannot replace whole foods, what's the way forward? Well, one, eat food in its whole form. Nutrient synergy cannot be reconstructed in a lab. The most powerful nutrition comes from food grown in its natural state. It's rich in unseen intelligence that governs the biological balance. Two, you want to prioritize living food. Foods that are freshly harvested, wild, or minimally processed carry a higher energetic imprint, delivering both nutrients and the energetic code to direct them. Three, restore intelligence, restore soil intelligence. Regenerative agriculture is not just about soil fertility, it's about ensuring the energetic blueprint that begins in the soil and then transfers into the plants that we eat, and of course then transfers into us and our cells. And lastly, four, we want to rethink supplements as complements. Supplements may be helpful as a short-term intervention, but they cannot replace the complexity of real food. The goal should always be to build nutrient reserves through food first. Science has tried to outsmart nature by isolating nutrients and attempting to rebuild them in a lab. But nature doesn't work that way. In real food, nutrients aren't just chemical elements. They're part of a biological fingerprint, guided by unseen intelligence that ensures they work as intended. Real nourishment isn't just about nutrients, it's about intelligence, the intelligence behind them. And that's something no pill or powder or processed food can replicate. The question isn't whether we can keep engineering new supplements, it's whether we're ready to return to living systems that once nourished us with precision and purpose. And again, we have to rethink the paradigm for how we live today. Draw on first principles of thousands of years of living, understand them, and honor the parts that are critical to our health.